No, I got it. I got it. I got it.
Still on. It's still bad.
What the fuck?
Wait, it's weird. Oh wait, but there's a lag. There's a lag. Let's see.
Yeah, you got a lag.
No, this is we're live. We're past.
What about now? Yeah, we're working on it. All right.
Oh, we're good.
Are we good now?
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, what the fuck was that?
I don't know.
Said turn it on and off again.
All right. Okay. Sorry about that. I have no idea what happened. I checked my settings. Everything was fine. I have no idea. Anyway, we are back. And let's go to screen share. All right. So, we just bounced. Okay.
Yeah, we're working on it.
So finally, me screwing up by not muting my YouTube actually worked out, because immediately I was like, because I would have no way I would have known. Okay, so we're all good. So look, the weekly chart, I believe, is still on pace for a new swing high sometime this month. So I still think this is a short-term correction. The weekly chart is not that bad yet. We are bouncing once again right now. I wanted to bring you this video at the lows, but we are now bouncing. Look, the daily chart is doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing. I was looking for a 1 to 4 candle correction. This is candle number 2 of 1 to 4 candles. And my ultimate low target was under 3,400. Is that the fan on your computer?
Yeah, it is. Sorry.
Oh, it's yours.
Yeah.
Oh, there was this. No, it's fine. I just making sure it wasn't my audio. Okay, cool. And the problem is that this is supposed to be the low. It's going to be very hard for me to keep this target as a price low if we already hit it on today's candle. And I'm going to see what Socrates thinks about that in a minute. I do want to point out that I drew these arrows on the 5th of January, and that was the thing I was going to play. It is on 2x speed.
January 10th.
Real quick.
So we got 5 more days. So January 10th, I don't like this puke color. And this is potential, potential second consecutive MRI count. Now, I don't know what price it will be at. So let's say 39,000. That's complete. Now,
That's pretty close. We had 41.
so let's say 1, 2, 3. So
Very strong.
11,
Right.
12, 13. We need another day. 14. Back to the yes.
Anyway, you guys get the point. So I drew this all out, and I didn't touch it.
Okay, that is my plan. I probably just spelled a million things because I'm dyslexic, idiot. But other than that, that's the plan.
That was the plan.
And here's the thing. This whole thing. Is in line with weekly.
Oh, you guys can't hear the YouTube audio. It doesn't matter.
MRI top.
I'm gonna pause that. Anyway, the point is that this was always the plan for this daily to go to about 39.40, which it did. I drew it back down here, exactly where Sarah starts. So it's still going according to plan. I like this bounce right here, but it did breach some key areas. Let's go to this 1 hour chart where we can also see Socrates' MSR. And we did want to go through this 1 hour candle. Now, the wick came down to this area of 33. So we've now completely breached a new low. We have a new low close. We took out the support line of the MRI, and we took out the buoys in Socrates' indicator in the ocean. And that is not a great sign. I do like this bounce. So for me, you would need to have this close above the ocean in order for it to be potentially bullish, right? Or is it done? The audio is bad again. I don't know what else I can do here. Well, it shouldn't be low either. It should be fine.
Probably people
people-
that
yeah,
just
people
started
just-
watching. So yeah, this is definitely a
Guys,
very.
this is the microphone I'm using. It's a $250 Rode, shotgun mic. And I'm sitting right in front of it, and so is Sauce. So I don't know what else we can do here.
Yeah, I think those that can hear us will be able to turn up the volume if they can, and those that can, hopefully, will be able to follow along with the charts here, because I do think this is a very interesting time. I pay very close attention to the first 20% of a candle open. After the close, if you have a strong close, there is often going to be a reaction in the opposite direction. So that first 20% of a candle moving against the trend is something that I pay very close attention to. And today's close wasn't as good as I want, but this is the area where I would look for a sharp move counter to the trend about 4 to 6 hours or so after the close. And now we're also starting the week. So this is a spot where I'm going to be paying very close attention, and I'm
that's
going to
true.
be wanting to definitely watch that 1 hour, but also be focusing on some of the higher time frames. When we're this short into the week and it's already moved that sharply against last week, that's a spot where I think it's an opportunity because it takes time to reverse the moves in general. You don't, in general, you will get a candle or two that close inside the last couple bars before some of the shorter term moving averages get the chance to flatten out and or roll over. So I like to be very patient during this first 20% of a day, especially during the first 10% of a week when it moves counter to the trend, because there's a lot of time for it to rebound. And when it moves that sharply against, that's something that I also want to be very wary of making knee-jerky decisions. So this is a spot where I would strongly recommend anybody who's out there really wondering what to do, you got to be sticking to the plan. And if this is a time where you're feeling very, very uncomfortable about the price action that you're seeing, it's probably an indication that you got a little bit overexposed, or you didn't have a good plan that you can stick to. And like Tone said the other day, God invents stop losses for a reason. And if you've got stop losses in place and you're not risking more than you can lose, then you should feel very comfortable here. And that's what allows you to be in a position mentally to buy into these dips that can be so hard to catch when you wait so long for them to happen. So I just strongly encourage anybody out there that's feeling uncomfortable to don't make knee-jerky decisions in this environment. And if you're finding yourself consistently doing that, ask yourself if you're overexposing, trying to make too much money too soon, or if you just have no objective strategy and therefore you're always needing to make decisions emotionally in this environment. So this is a spot where I'm paying very close attention to the 1 hour, and I do want to see it close above the buoy. I wouldn't need it to close above the ocean. It already retracing that
That's
far.
the buoy, guys.
Right there. Thank you. So that was where I told Tone before we start the show, even 1 hour close below that level does cause me to start scaling out of my positions on this time frame. So right here, I do pay close attention, but I'm waiting for closes and I'm knowing which time frames I'm trading and which closes I need to happen. So that's something I strongly encourage you guys out there to do yourself as well.
Now, so this is an exponential moving average, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm actually curious where the simple moving average would be, because I am more of a simple moving average trader, not an exponential. So I'm going to go to my, one of these was mine actually. I have to find my, my scripts. Where is my moving average forecast? I think this is mine.
Nice.
Yeah, I started my own, but like we never finished them. So here's my own, and it didn't hit mine either. So mine are 20, 50, 200. And what are the colors? Well, where's the third? I see 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's my 200.
Yep.
Because I'm using simple.
Mm-hmm.
So mine was a little bit lower.
Yep.
And that's got to be the So that's sorry, that's the 200. That one has to be the 50. So this one has to be the 20.
Correct.
So my 50 was higher. That's your 50, the green?
Correct. Yep.
Okay, so you were even lower. Okay, I just needed to see that.
And one thing I do want to point out there that I am seeing as a signal of weakness that I don't like to see is that bounce that came off of the 200 beach area, the tan area. I want to see that return to the 50 moving average, even if it doesn't continue higher. I expect it to bounce and retest that 50 to give me kind of a trimming opportunity. And when it doesn't test that area, it indicates front running that sellers are moving down below a traditional area of resistance. So I don't like seeing that pull up short, but I'm not going to panic or make any knee-jerky decisions in this environment. And the other thing we're looking at there is that volume.
I'll put Tone's volume up.
Beautiful. Paying very close attention to what happens when the volume spike comes.
See, the Tone volume is green.
It sure
not
is.
red.
Look at that wick.
And this is why my volume is green, because I custom made my volume indicator. It does need a little bit more work before I can make it public. And the reason why this is green is because this is a reversal candle. And I like to see green volume spikes. See, here's another example right here. This is scary looking. This is bullish looking. That's why my volumes are different. And I really like my own volume indicator. It just helps me analyze the market much better. That's why I want to pull that up, but we can close.
Couldn't agree more. And I've learned a lot about analyzing volume, following you myself. And right there, we're only a few minutes to the close. So,
and I have to take your indicator off so we can see how big this wick actually is. And I would love to see this thing close up as high as possible in the last 2 minutes. And that's what we're watching right now. This could be another similar move. I mean, this was a huge move. That was, where's my, we had a 14% move
in 3 hours.
For like $4.5 grand in 3 hours. And if we can repeat that, it would be very interesting because we both wanted to hit the moving average, but at the same time, it would be very confusing if we break this swing high, which would be a conflict of a rejection or in a downtrend versus a breakout of prior swing high. So unless this starts to go up very, very slowly, and it doesn't look like anything slow is happening in this Bitcoin market, unless this actually moves very, very slowly, it's going to be a weird dynamic. I still think there is a little bit, well, we don't have to go any lower according to price, but I think we still have to consolidate a little. I still think we're going to have another red candle. I think the next 36 hours is going to be in the red, but we don't have to break the low. I think price-wise, the low might be in, but we're going to consolidate for a couple of days.
Yeah, this is a spot where what I was looking at prior is still intact, but very close to being invalid. As we were looking at that hyperwave fractal, Tone's trend line there is still being tested, and the 44K by like the 14th or 15th, when we were at 42, it seems like, yeah, for sure, of course, so we're going to get there. And now that we've kind of had this move back and a move to 44 is what was projected by the hyperwave fractal based on the price and time targets that we talked about in the book, of the accelerating nature of the new phase is expected to return the same amount in half of the time. So you take the return from the prior phase, and then you take the time and divide the time by 2. And that gives you your price and time target, which seems like 44K wasn't really going to be enough for that real blast. And now, if this trend line holds, that's where I really wouldn't want to see another red candle. I would want to see more of that V-ish type of bottom, kind of like we got last week, where the wick comes down, and then even this next candle, today's candle, closes green. That's what I would want to see as a nice shakeout and a lot of demand in this wick space that we're testing now.
So in addition, if you look, this is probably going to reset the MRI counts. And that means the next one is not going to be a 3. It's going to be back to a 1. And which will be interesting. Now, we could go lower, but I still see us in a bull market. I see this as a scare because right now, some people are tempted to buy back. And this is a way for noobs to get caught. So many people wanted to buy Bitcoin and they just watched it go from 20 up to now. And they're looking at this pullback. This is the psychology of markets. They're looking at this pullback and they're like, well, I missed it. This is my chance to buy it in the low 3,000s. And I think
30s.
low 30,000s. My bad.
Moves so far so fast. Doesn't it?
It's my chance to buy it in a low 30,000s. It's 20. It's down 20%. How much are we down? I think we're down 20, right?
The 20% mark.
We're down 20.
From the wicks. too.
From the wicks, yeah.
Driving bodies.
It's not the proper correction I want, but it's the absolute perfect noob get like introduction get fucked in the market, because I think a lot of people that have been waiting to buy a dip will buy this dip. And for the next 10 days, they're going to look like geniuses as we go into the mid 40,000s. And then they're going to learn a very valuable lesson of a pullback to 25. I don't see the 25 pullback happening this week. I still see a new high before the real 35% pullback.
I agree. And I think you bring up a really, really important point that when a bull market really gets moving and a trend gets moving, we talk a lot about short, medium, long-term trends. And there's also, there's these short, medium, and big dips. And a really good example is if we could look at what happened in 2019 in terms of when that market moved from 3,000 to 14,000, there were very small dips that were very hard to catch.
It was very frustrating for me.
Absolutely. But just
and Tyler Jenks and you guys, I remember us covering it. You guys went long at 6.
Yep. And then I was looking for that descending triangle, and we were actually talking about that big shooting star wick on your show right there. And then once the dip became much more buyable, it became much easier to catch. All of a sudden it kept on dipping, and until the point where the people that were waiting for that dip the whole way up bought it and then got stopped out eventually. So once the dip gets too easy to buy, it's generally going to go further down. And that's where we look at the short, medium, long-term trends. And this is one right now that isn't easy to buy. It's been at this price for a couple of hours only. And that's where I need it to stay at this price for a couple of hours only. Otherwise, that's when it starts becoming too easy to buy. And I start becoming very nervous. And we were talking a little bit earlier about time-based stop losses. This is why I am so interested in buying these situations, is because I can look at using a price stop and a time stop, where if I can be in a trade and it just kind of moves flat for 3 or 4 hours and that invalidates it, that's a really good opportunity for me using a tight time stop. Like right here, I can't have the price here for more than X number of hours. Therefore, I can have a price stop that limits my risk to the downside, or if the price doesn't do what I need it to in the next day, I can also get out around break even or so. And that's the area I want to enter when it's a tight price stop and a tight time stop.
All right, very well said. And the other thing I was gonna mention is going back to here. This was very difficult for me to properly analyze. First of all, this is back in the first half of 2019. While at the time, and this is again going back to the concept of time and price, I would have been absolutely happy with a $3,000 low or $3,100 low if it happened 6 months later. I always felt that this bear market, from the $20,000 top to the $3,000 low, was plenty painful price-wise. but not painful enough time-wise. And I felt that not enough time had passed to ruin people's portfolios. Price-wise, it sure did, but not time-wise. And during this run-up, I had two major challenges. One, the big move happened on my weekly MRI top, which prevented me from going long. Now, I was long, and this is where I exited. I had to then go, yes, I was long here, and then I exited. And I don't remember if I actually entered the market, but I had to become bullish, reluctantly bullish based on my own indicators. And this is where I said, I'm going to sell some of my home. Because I felt that we had got up unreasonably too much, 200%, without any correction whatsoever.
Right.
Well, I could go from here, but it's still the same 200%, 170%.
Absolutely.
And not only was this so fast with no correction, not even a 5% correction. The problem, not the problem, but I'm looking at this, we are being rejected by the resistance line. We have a perfect reversal candle, and we have a double consecutive MRI top, and we're crashing down. So I was absolutely certain. This is where I made the bet with Rand that we're going to go back to 4,000.
Yeah.
Right here. And I was so confident I was going to win this bet within weeks, like what happened with Doug Polk.
Yes, I remember that one.
Because I was very confident that this needed to correct for 30 to 40%.
Yeah.
Potentially more.
Absolutely.
I mean, I was pretty bearish, I guess, because that would be a 50% correction. Well, maybe I was a little high. Maybe it's like that. Right. So anyway, and when this reversed so quickly, I had no time to react. And I had no choice but to be bullish again. But I felt this was a disaster in the making. And we had the disaster. It's a very different environment now.
Right there before what Tone was just talking about, if you highlight that red 2, what Tone was just talking about as well is when the dip is still, like I said earlier, it's not too easy to buy right now. But even if it does react properly, we're getting at a point where people are going to be looking at not taking enough profits. So if we're right there where Tone highlighted, and you buy that dip, and then it does move up from 77 to 12, like Tone just said himself, he didn't have time to react properly. And if you're somebody that is going to be buying this dip and then watch it go up, not only do you have to have a effective strategy that you can implement, you also have to have the time to implement it effectively, because this market's open 24/7 and it moves so fast. And when you are not going to have enough time to implement the strategy that you're trying to use to enter in onto a dip, then it can move into your favor before you end up losing money. And that's something that right there is what I could see in my mind. This is kind of what I'm picturing is that red 2, like I'm still seeing a move to 44 like I talked about in potentially the next few days, but it's kind of getting to that last gasp of the phase 4, that fractal like I talked about. So even if you are looking to execute a buy here that isn't a long-term hodl, a dollar cost average, you got to be ready to quickly take profit in these markets that make it so hard to take profit when they keep moving. And that's something that is very, very important, because the profit is never really going to put you in the poorhouse, and that's the bottom line.
I'm looking for the Bitcoin futures real quick. Somebody was saying, look at that. This is the MRI on the Bitcoin futures daily.
That is very interesting.
Perfect call. Even more, it looks even cleaner than the actual Bitcoin chart, even though this skips weekends, and it still called it.
That's what's so interesting to see.
MRI daily still called this, even though there's no weekend data.
And what is the best chart to follow? Like where is the real money flowing in from? Where is the market being driven? Is it by the perpetual contract traders on BitMEX because it has a lot of volume, or is it CME, or like Tone talked about just the other day, what's the contract that Tyler would trade?
GBTC.
GBTC.
That's what I trade.
You as well. Potentially that would be the best chart to follow. There can be a big edge to be found just by knowing which chart is going to give you the best signals with your system. And it's just really interesting to see something like that on a high volume contract like the CME futures.
That's real quick to keep talking.
All right.
No, it's okay. I got it.
So one other thing I
go
did
ahead.
want to say is if you want to highlight this guy right here, that candle is like Tone talked about how hard it is to trade. Right there, you got a 9, and what happened. What was supposed to happen happened. You got a 1 to 4 candle correction. It went for 3 candles straight sideways. Yet, how were you going to profit on that if you entered by buying the 2 above the 1, and then you sold the 9? Do you sell it at the close? Do you sell it at the open? Do you sell it halfway through? So you buy the 2, you sell the 9 close, and then you wait for another 2 above a 1. You're making money all the way through. Even though you sold low and bought back higher, you made money on the run up because you were able to effectively implement a system. And that is a very good candle to show how hard it is to actually trade when that 3 candle correction doesn't dip to where you want it to dip.
And the reason I wanted to bring this up is to show you guys how this was a slightly different environment. This was what I refer to as an unexplainable rise. Hindsight's always easy. It was plus token scam out of China. But at the time, nobody knew. And right now, we have a very different environment. This is an extremely bullish environment. But even bullish environments have a way of teaching people lessons. And I think the lesson will be learned when people are rushing in now to buy the dip. And I think next week, there's going to be a lot of retail buying. At least that's what I hope, because I do want to get out of my GBTC at a nice price in 10 days. And I think I'll get that chance. I really think that Monday, Tuesday, this thing is going to go up. And we've already met my target price-wise. If we hold this trend line, I think there'll be one more push. Everyone is going to rush in. Retail is about to rush in. It's a new year. They've been waiting for a dip all year, even though the year is 10 days in, but that's a long 10 days. I mean, Bitcoin, like, what,
a long 10 days.
Like when if you were sitting there at your Christmas and New Year's party saying, next year, I'm getting into Bitcoin. And this has been a very rough 10 days for you, because this is January 1st, where the price was under 30,000. And 10 days later, you're up 25%, which retail did not participate in this. We know that. I think retail is coming in this week.
This is what I'm waiting for. I'm still not seeing those signs of full-on FOMO, and I'm still seeing some really good signs on these dips. As we're looking at this trend line test, what happened the last time we tested it, we got a strong wick off of it with a red close, and then a test of that. If you want to just highlight that guy right there. So notice how
This one?
Yep, and then the one before. So we had the red candle with the wick down that tested the trend line. And then for that wick to happen there, to test that trend line, that second one there, that green, that one, for that wick to happen there and that close to follow, you had to have that action in the first like 10, 20% of the candle. To have that wick at the bottom and a close above the prior day's highs, it had to have come down in the very early period of the day and spent the rest of the day rallying. So this is, to me, still feeling a very similar action where we come down to test a trend line, we got a strong wick off of it, and then on the next day in the very first part of the period, the first 10%, we're already back testing that wick space and getting a good reaction. So this is where I'm looking for this to close green or very close to the top of today's period. And and if it does, it's still in a great shape. And if it doesn't, I'm starting to get some early signs that I'm wanting to take more profit than just kind of trimming along the way.
We're rebounding nicely. We're already up 7.5% in the last hour. And we still have this major overhead resistance of the quickly declining 50-period exponential moving average. And at this point, I can't see us hitting it in the next 2 or 3 hours. So if we hit it, we are going to be at a lower high. And that's going to be the big make or break. So
How's funding looking?
on the 1 hour chart, it's starting to favor the bulls.
It didn't go negative, did it?
It did.
Are you kidding me?
This is the hourly chart.
But it's an 8-hour funding rate, so I'm just not sure. Is that like confirmed? Is that predicted?
Look at the 4 hour and then look at the daily.
Can you just look on BitMEX like we were looking earlier? So one reason why I'm really, really interested in this.
Here's the 4 hour.
That's
It's negative as well.
That's really interesting. So that's still positive. So is it the predicted? It's still the predicted rate then. I'm just gonna check.
Oh, watch the court.
I'm sorry. Oh, you're...
Yeah, definitely negative funding rate is going to be something that I pay very close attention to, and that's where I don't use the bars because I just never know if it's
right,
if it's predicted or if it actually prints. So yeah, I'm not seeing negative funding rates on BitMEX right now.
Bybit though is really favoring the bears.
So yeah, that's right. I'm interested though because it very well could show up based on the calculation.
The daily still looks. We have to wait for the day to be over. Like I like looking at it at the end of the day. The day just started, so the day is still favoring the bears, but the lower level time frames are starting to favor the bulls here. Which again, I think it's possible that the low is in, but I still think there is consolidation here. I think this dip, I think there'll be time to buy this dip. And the reason why there will be time to buy this dip is because it's going into a bull trap.
Well, I would, what I'm looking for it to go into is that retail FOMO buy to where it should be very hard to buy the dip and it should accelerate on the way up. So there should become less and less and less time to buy it as it goes to that euphoric explosion. Then when it does give that chance to buy.
But my view is I don't think there'll be a euphoric explosion.
Well, just a mini euphoric. I mean, we've moved so hard, so fast.
Right.
If we just went to 24, 26, and then back to 20, and then kept this 3-step forward, 2-step back, I'm looking for like that candle we looked at earlier that was a very different environment, but it was a weekly huge shooting star. Like I'm looking for a big shooting star on the daily. Like to me, the daily is not showing any, the weekly, but the daily is still showing just mediocre signs. I'm looking for a strong high volume burst with a big wick that shoots that back down. So not
I think it's going to happen later in the month. That's what I'm waiting for.
So I'm looking for less time to buy the dip until that.
Or maybe I'm just
comes.
getting high on my own supply here with the MRI calling it so perfectly yesterday that I really want it to play out as a 1 to 4 candle correction going right into a new MRI top, which could actually take place later because the numbers have to reset.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I am curious, maybe somebody can shoot me a message on Twitter or something, because say the 1 hour funding rate on that indicator, looking at the BitMEX butane funding rate on TradingView, say there's like a 1 hour period where that funding, the predicted funding does spike really bullish, but it doesn't end up printing that way. That's still very relevant information, but I'm just not sure. So I'm trying to figure out how this happens, because there's been times I've seen it spike down there, but then I'll look at the predicted rate and it doesn't validate what I'm seeing there. So I'm curious what I'm maybe misunderstanding. So let me know if you guys out there know anything. So one thing I did want to look at on the 1 hour still is when we get that slightly lower low, this is where I want to see a divergence in the RSI. When you barely peak below that last low,
There's no divergence.
that's interesting because that is where I would want to see strength weakening for the bears as they push into support and they barely get that low, but bulls come through strong enough. So there's
But
no
the
divergence there.
reason why there wasn't divergence here is because we rebounded so strong.
Yeah, totally.
Because remember when we were looking at it earlier, the RSI reading was like way down there.
Mhm.
I really think you can
Yeah, interesting.
almost see this as divergence because I think it was just dumb luck that this rallied so much at the end of the hour. Like if we start looking at 30-minute candles,
But that was into the end of the day and into the end of the week too. I
This
think
one?
that was important. Yeah, we were rallying into the end of the weekly close and the end of the daily
yeah, but we
close.
weren't that close to end of the day.
But from here to like all
yeah,
of
you're right.
that,
No, actually, we were pretty close to end of day. You're right. But if I look at 30-minute candles, you see huge divergence as I expected.
Mhm.
So huge RSI divergence on a 30-minute only because of the way the candles closed. So this is the close on the 30-minute. And then this one rallied all the way up. So if you combine them, then like this never shoots down.
Yep. Absolutely. That's so interesting how low we saw that RSI reading and then how it ended up not showing there anymore because
Right.
of that rebound and that close. So that is interesting.
But also
to
look at
see.
the CMF. Look at the big positive volume.
Yeah, I think this volume is looking very good. Very good. Do you have any questions for us?
Someone wanted to know if you think we're going to get a 2013 double bubble.
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
You're right. I've been saying that since last year,
Yeah.
that I'm expecting 2021 to be, or well, not necessarily 2021, but but we started rallying earlier. But since we broke that 20K and the way the market started November, December, I'm expecting a repeat of 2013, but in a significantly less magnitude. So 2013 in total was a 100x move. I can't see current double bubble, another interception, man. They picked him off like 8 times. Cleveland again, interception.
Wow.
Absolutely
Roethlisberger.
beautiful.
Tone got me on an NFL bet. He hasn't bet sports in 3-4 years. And of
More
course, I
like
get
6, yeah.
Those
Yeah, so I was ready to take Cleveland straight up. They were 5.5-point underdogs. I lowered the spread to 3.5 from 5.5, and I took Cleveland.
Yeah. I like Cleveland too.
I was
but
gonna bet on them
just had to
straight
take
up. It was
I had to
just
take the Steelers.
it's their time.
Yeah, you're right.
I would have given Tone the action because I'm such a junkie, but this is the one thing that I couldn't do is bet on the Steelers because I have only come to tears one time in my life when in sadness. I've been in tears of happiness a few times, but in sadness
Sports.
was because due to sports, of course, was because of the Steelers beating my Arizona Cardinals in a last second heartbreaking defeat when my entire life we had never even made it to the playoffs. And then I got to experience that. I couldn't bet on them, but so I love that action. The Browns taking it to those damn Steelers.
I mean, the Steelers looked like Cleveland for the first half. I mean, I've never
Yeah.
seen Pittsburgh
Yeah.
have so many miscues. I've never seen
So-
so many deflected balls and fumbles in my life in one half. I don't know. I think they had to have broken a record.
Tone, I got a quick question for you. If you put it back on the hourly, as we were talking about that being a divergence, now that my brain's kind of processed it, I almost feel like it's better than a divergence if there's this high closing nature to the low that the RSI doesn't quite pick up on like you did right away on the 30 minutes. What do you think? Is there, it's something that we should almost be paying attention to when we get these high closes that don't have the divergence,
Yeah.
as maybe even a better divergence.
Yeah.
Also, Tone, Ontario Bitcoin says that he secured your username, Tone Vays, on Jordan Peterson's new podcast, Free Speech platform, and he said to hit him up.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I can hit you up. If you can tweet at me that information, I can then DM you on Twitter. Ontario, thank you for that. Yeah, just tweet at me and like tag me in a tweet, and then I'll DM you. Thanks, man.
Do you
I didn't even
notice
know. I didn't even know about that
I
platform.
didn't
Yeah.
know that either.
So here, look. So we're dropping now. I don't like the structure. Look, we broke the support line. We broke critical moving average. We closed significantly lower. We've made a new low. Everything points to lower lows, but I'm still on a 1 to 4 candle correction until it goes down for more than 4 days. I'm still looking for a 1 to 4 candle correction, and price wise, we're there. We can certainly go lower because time and price are different things. So we'll see when we wake up. We'll see by morning what's going on. The real support is here at 27. That's my support line off the MRI. As long as we stay above this, I think we're making a new high this month. I'm still bullish, even though this pullback should have been sold by everyone, including myself, as I've mentioned many times.
Yeah, and I guess maybe I'll even do you one better that for now, and this could change in the next few hours, that I'm still thinking we should make a new high in the next week. Everything's still looking good to me. And what Tone just did there is very, very, very important. And it's something that's said time and time and time again. And when things are said that many times, it's something to do. When in doubt, zoom out. When we're looking at the 1 hour, yeah, a lot of things are looking bad. And if that's a good dip buying opportunity on the 4 hour or the daily, then it should get a lot of 1 hour traders stopped out and selling and this and that. So if you're somebody who is going to be trading on any time frame, you should always start by zooming out and then zooming in. Like Tyler always talks about throwing the ripple into the pond. You got to start by, where does it start? It starts with the broad view, and then you can zoom in to see where some things start to line up. So I would be looking for the 1 hour to start to show some signs of strength if it's at a higher time frame level of support, or I would be, if in doubt of where this trend is, continuing to zoom out. And as Tone shows the daily chart, it is very much intact and a very healthy pullback.
But here's what I really like. I like the 4 hour here coming up on an MRI buy in about 16 hours. So that will almost be into the third day of the pullback. So if the 4 hour can hold this support line of 30,000, I think that if we now dip to 30,000, I would buy that dip. And as of tomorrow, I will be able to buy the dip due to GBTC being open. So I will be trying to buy this dip because I haven't looked at the 4 hour yet. Plus, the funding rate on the 4 hour is starting to favor the bulls. So I would love to see this go into an MRI. So this candle just started. So this is almost midnight New York time, and it'll be in the next day. So it'll already be the third day of the pullback. Yeah. So I would be very interested in buying on Monday when GBTC opens, and it could open. If I wake up in the morning and we're sitting at new lows on this pullback, I am very interested in buying the dip Monday on GBTC.
That's very interesting, and I always appreciate how honest and open you are with exactly where you would buy, where you're getting stopped out, where you're taking profit, and I've always tried to do the same in large part from what I've seen from you, and of course what you should learn from watching these types of shows is no matter who you watch and who does good or who does bad, everybody does it differently, and therefore the people that I know that do best have their own approach that they really trust in and believe in. And a lot of the times, like anybody that watches my show, I'm on with Fibbo and Joe, where we're never disagreeing to the point where when we all agree on price direction, we like get scared. Or if we all agree on this being a buy or a sell, it's almost weird. So Tone, for Tone tomorrow, he's told you where and when this is buy. And for me, this is my buying opportunity is right here. Right now for a smaller position on a smaller time frame with a very clear and well-defined stop. If we go back to the 1 hour, the 4 and the 1 hours are what I'm going to be using to time my entries. And it really is a
I
good spot
don't
for
like
me.
this at all, because now
I'm going to see if I can change your mind real quick.
we've pierced this wick not once, twice.
Yep. And so now we're getting some of these guys stopped out. And here's where I'm going to see if I can change your mind. If you could throw up MSR, what's really interesting to me and what I really look for as what I look as so I take my signals. So when it tells me to buy or sell, that's what I do as effectively as I can. But I'll adjust position size based on the setups. And for me, I would be looking at this as a good setup, because we're below the moving averages that have a wide crossover. So the 50 moving average is well above the 200. If you want to highlight where that 50 EMA is, when you have the 50 EMA extended above the 200 EMA so much, it is a spot where even if it does continue moving down, you would expect to pull back up and into the crossover, which is kind of highlights exactly one of the main ways that I will use a time-based stop loss is if you fall below the moving averages that have a wide spread, I look at it as a buying opportunity. And if the moving averages don't maintain the crossover, then the price can move against me, and I can still look for a pullback up and into a death cross to give me a break-even exit. So this is where, if it moves against, I still see a lot of gravity pulling price up and into a crossover. And if it doesn't move against, which I am expecting when they're this far crossed, and that's what's very, very important. When they're only crossed by a very, very little bit, that changes everything. When they've got a pretty significant divergence like we see here, that's where I would think that, not what I would think, but this is where I would look to increase exposure due to my confidence in the stop loss.
Okay. No, I see your point, but I'm also seeing how we just lost 2 critical levels of support. And while we can bounce into it, I don't know when to buy. Like, I don't have a good metric, but on a 4-hour, I have a great metric of when to buy this dip when the MRI loads, and it would be right above 30K. And by the time we get there, hopefully in 3 or 4 candles, this would be a lot closer to it.
Absolutely. And that is my perfected buy is on the 1 hour and the 4 hours, the higher time frame that I trade. So I'd be looking to stop out a 1 hour entry if it was to break down that 1 hour ocean that we were looking at, and which would position me to buy the higher time frame dip. And that's a very perfected setup for me is when I see a 9 count to the downside that comes into support. So if we have the 50 EMA above the 200 trending in a bullish direction, and then we have a 9 sell at the 200, that's something I look for in a big way of it's sold into a 9 at a big level of support. And what he highlighted right there is absolutely, if the 1 hour position was to get stopped out, I would instantly be entering orders there. Because for me, I wouldn't need the 9. I would be like right now, I'm getting the buy signal right now because it's in my areas. Whereas Tone, like you said, knows exactly where his would be coming.
Now, let me show you something else, guys. So first of all, what's up?
What was your bet with Duck Call?
The price,
because I remember Doug talking shit on TA, just saying it doesn't work.
I'm gonna get a new tequila. Well,
didn't believe that it worked, which I was very disappointed as a poker player. People, a lot of people don't think it's possible to make money playing poker. It's a very common perspective to have, is that of course you can't make money playing poker. You're just a degenerate gambler. And so it's very easy for a poker player to pick up on that. Yeah, most people don't think TA works, but there's a lot of people making a lot of money from it. So I'm going to kind of figure that out. So he was on with Tone talking about this, and we were consolidating in that 6K range, and Tone bet him $10,000.
We were at 10,000 at the time. We rebounded from 6,000.
Right, we were consolidating.
No.
I was thinking that. You bet him we were going below 6 before we got above 10, was what I remembered.
So we crashed in February from 15,000 to 6. And then we rallied from 6 back to 10. And everyone thought that was going to be the swing.
Oh, you bet the all-time high was what he did?
No. No, we bet here. It was, so the bet took place around here at 10,000. We had bounced off of 6 once and then twice. And I knew that this double bottom was not going to hold.
But where did he have to get to win? Like you bet only over 10K. Like you made a great bet on that.
It was,
lower
so
high.
we bet right here at 10K.
And what would have happened for him to win?
For him to win, we would not be, if we never go below 6K again.
And at what point
Ever.
would you have paid him?
Well, eventually I said, Doug, you do realize that if we don't have an end time, I never have to pay you.
Okay. Is that
So but I gave myself till the halving or till the year, like it was kind of
No.
open-ended.
I think you're remembering this wrong.
No.
I want people to look it up. Listen to this in the chat. Doug would not mess up a bet like that.
No.
He knows how to bet. You bet, and I was super impressed with your bet because we got up here and you said below 6 before above 10.
No.
Is
It
what I
was
remember.
10. That was different.
Yeah.
It was. He said it would never go below 6, and I said that it would.
Okay.
And I just had to buy myself enough time.
Okay.
So I gave myself like 2 years or something.
Really?
Right. I gave myself like or at least a year.
That was
He
the
was that
fishiest.
bullish.
Okay.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought you made a better bet. That
No.
was a terrible bet on his
Right.
side.
I gave myself a lot of time, but I won that bet within a month and a half. Like this was it. This was the break. It didn't break by much. It only broke by like $100 or so.
Oh yeah.
But it was enough. But it was this right here at 10K. And he said we would never go below 6. And because of this double bottom, I knew that we would.
Well, I guess I was remembering that incorrectly, and he gave you a way better bet. I feel like I would have remembered like that being such a good deal on your side, but of course you remember better than I do. And anybody watching, I want you to instead of looking up because I'm wrong, I'm admitting it. Instead of that, I want you to go give Joe Saz a hard time because he still hasn't paid me on our bet, and it was just a friendly bet. It was a box of cigars if I lost, and if I won, it was a hoodie. And when we were around 9,000, I bet him that we weren't going below 7 before we broke on through the 10,000. And I'm still waiting for that hoodie, Joe. And we are well above.
Oh, wait,
that
cigars.
7,000.
You're supposed to give him a hoodie. You're waiting on cigars.
No. I want my hoodie. He was going to get cigars. He's buying me a hoodie.
He owes you a hoodie.
And I'm getting it plastered with Joe thought Bitcoin wasn't going above 10K and like on the back. Yes.
All right. Hey, let's get back to this for a second. I'm gonna take another peek at Bitcoin. Okay, so here's the thing. Like you said, when in doubt, zoom out. And we have not been below on the 4-hour chart. We have not been below the 50 exponential in a month. And we just crossed it. And this is not a good sign. We don't just immediately cross back. I mean, we kind of did one of these, which I was surprised we didn't actually go back below. But once we made this triangle, I was okay with it. But here's the other part I want to show you guys. If you look at this 4-hour chart on the run-up, notice all of these MRI tops and how it is either consolidation breakout, single peak, consolidation breakout, single peak. But this is a very prolonged top, a very flat consolidation that turned. And this consolidation is making me bullish because it was not a move like this. This move straight down could have resulted in disaster. This consolidation is making me more bullish, maybe more bullish than it should. But I'm going to set up my buy the dips just above around 31,000. If I don't get to buy this dip, I'll patiently wait to break 41 before I go in.
Yep, and Tone's bringing up a lot of good points right there. And earlier today, what we looked at is some very important stuff in terms of if you're in this on the right side. So that there's a group that's looking to really buy this So really buy this dip as much as they can, or the group that's looking to hold through the trend and then take profit once some things really start to change. And we have seen some things start to change. Earlier today, Tone was showing the lowest reading on the 1 hour RSI that we've gotten, meaning the least amount of strength out of the bulls through the duration of this trend. And now we're looking at the 4 hour chart getting to a price where relative to the average of this trend, the 50 moving average of the trend, it hasn't broken that. So these are the first sort of signs that I start to look for that make me sit up in my seat, like Tyler would talk about a canary in the coal mine that gets you to be ready to take profit. It doesn't make you click the trigger yet. It just tells you to start being ready. And that's the key. If you're not ready to take profit, if you're still foaming at the mouth over how much unrealized profit is on the table, it's going to be impossible to actually take the profit when you need to. So it's very important to have a like a setup. Something else that Peter Brandt has in the 3-day rule that he'll use to trail his stops is there's a setup candle. So that if the setup candle occurs, he still has a whole day to react to see if there's going to be a trigger. And I think that's very, very important to have some sort of things to look for that help you to see that, okay, these may be the first cracks. And the first cracks is where you kind of start to expect that bull trap, like Tone was originally talking about, where you get that head fake above that makes the dip buy look so good. And if you're already hearing that canary in the coal mine telling you to kind of get out, then you can be looking out for a trap opposed to looking to buy a real breakout. And that's what Tony and I have been talking a lot about he was telling where he would buy the breakout if it were to occur. And that's very important to understand where that would be a good opportunity opposed to if there's some canaries telling you to get out if the dip didn't really come far enough to make the breakout a good buying opportunity.
I did want to make this video on a shorter side because maybe it's getting late already, but we do want to play a little poker. So ignore this. I have no idea what the hell this is. This is the Bitcoin dominance. People are like, hey, look at the wick on Bitcoin down. It's some shit coin that priced itself at $1 billion a coin at 1,000 coins. And some idiot bought a fraction of it. And this is what happened. So I would ignore that. I wouldn't care.
And ETHBTC really is the chart, I think, to pay attention to. And I would like to take a look just because it is at a critical area. And
Gold's
if that's
still going down. How's the stock market opening?
Down.
I think shit is gonna go down in Washington. I think shit is really gonna go down in Washington very, very like this week. There's gonna be something. In the meantime, hey guys, go do some light reading. Go read Hillary Clinton's emails. They're right there. WikiLeaks released them all. I really hope Trump arrests them and like sends them off to Siberia or something. And but yeah, Clintons really need to go. And also the other thing we need to look at, only from a TA perspective, is the US dollar. So here's the US dollar on a weekly chart hitting a perfect MRI bottom. Now, I am incredibly bearish on America at this point. Like, I think America is about to be a third world country. I think Venezuela is going to be better than America in a decade. And I'm very bearish on the US. And I've been a US bull in forever. You know that.
Yeah.
And I have never been this bearish on America in my life. This is where it ends. Because the rule of law and confidence in American politics has ended. And that's because I believe there was massive election fraud, and anyone, with 2 cents in their brain can see it. You should have seen it live on television in real time, but people, have biases. Anyway, the dollar is it's just a dead cat bounce. It's just a dead cat bounce, guys. There's a weekly 1 to 4 candle dead cat bounce, and look at the daily.
Wait, before you do that, just a quick trend line that would work out with a 1-4, like from there. Yeah.
Go higher.
Yeah, even maybe a little higher. Yeah. I would be, thinking the trend's going to continue as long as that holds.
So, I mean, I think it has more potential. I think it has potential to go to here, which means it will break that trend line. But that's about it. that's as much as I'm giving it. Now on a weekly chart, we can have a beautiful bounce in the dollar. You know, a president getting, knowing who's going to be sitting in the Oval Office will be a huge confidence boost. So because right now there is enough people out there who think that Trump will find a way to be president. There's not many of those people, but there is enough people out there to keep the market on its toes.
Right.
Once a president is actually sitting, which is going to happen in 10 days, I can see a huge spike in the dollar because of confidence that America is going to go back to normal. But it's not going to go back to normal because I think the possibility of shit going down is high. And which is why I'll probably be in Mexico watching it from south of the border. But it can spike all the way to here very quickly. But just like scam coins, when they spike, they go right back down. Mm-hmm. This is Bcash in case anyone's wondering. So I can see the spike and then go back down. Just like what happened with Kim.com announces, it spikes and it's going to go back down. So make sure to remind him when it makes a new low, please, because it will. So if we go now to the daily chart, as much as I want to say this daily is only on a 1 to 4 candle correction, the fact that the weekly has a 1 to 4 candle dead cat bounce, and the fact that the daily has broken its resistance line and we're getting a green star, I think we have a shot at a daily going from an MRI buy into an MRI sell at 92, breaking set trend line, but going back into the horizontal area. Like I don't see us breaking this line, but this line no longer counts. But I don't see it. This is a perfect support horizontal. And once it broke, it went down. So here's my outlook for the US dollar. And I think US is totally fucked.
I almost kind of disagree because I think once Biden gets locked in for sure, I think the market starts pricing in the stimulus and the Green New Deal because they're going to pass that immediately. Right?
Which
like,
again,
promise, right? Like,
once the Democrats the Democrats control the House, and it's now 50-50 in the Senate. Mm-hmm. So if you think Trump printed a lot of money, wait till Biden. Exactly. But if you're printing money, that means the dollar's going down. Right. So this is my outlook for the US dollar. This is just a dead cat bounce. Oh, yeah. And we can break this trend line only because there is horizontal support.
Yep, absolutely. And that's one of those spots where those that use trend lines will need to know when they can be adjusted and when they can't. And this is actually a good example. If you just go back to the weekly real quick, I think there's still, if there was a move above that trend line, it still could be adjusted if we zoom down a little bit.
And also we can do this very, very quickly to hold the trend line.
Absolutely.
And I can also fudge it a little bit to, there.
Yeah, and if we use even the close of the trend line, it could be adjusted out, even more to where you get that wick up to retest. And there's plenty of room down for that. And I am very bullish Bitcoin, but I really don't know what to say about the dollar because the last time that we printed a lot of money, the dollar became bullish because the countries that needed money more printed even more.
Right.
And so I'm bullish gold, I'm bullish Bitcoin, but I'm
bullish? I'm bullish Mexico, actually. I want to see the Mexican peso because Mexico is not shut down. And everyone is now going to Mexico on vacation and everyone's about to start going to Mexico on vacation.
If you want to talk about something that was a bubble, then it might be time to go in the other direction. It's
keep your eyes, guys, on the 10-year treasury.
What's Mexican currency?
MXY.
Sure.
Yeah, keep an eye on the 10-year treasury, everyone. Like the 10-year kind of really drives a lot of the risk assets on the short time.
MX, it's peso, right?
Yeah.
It used to be.
I'm not retarded.
I don't know what it is anymore. USD MXY maybe. There we go.
MXN. No, yeah, MXN. So it's USD MXN. I have a whole currency thing, but it's fine. There it is. It's been rallying.
Has it?
Yeah.
Because I mean, they've been getting.
Yeah, it's
up
been
for
rallying.
years. It's been bad for
It's
years,
been bad.
right?
And look.
Is it
So
reversing or
since
is it a
COVID,
bounce?
the Mexican peso is up 20%.
And this is actually where I really like flipping the chart upside down.
Right. Since COVID, the
yeah.
Mexican peso has increased by
Wow.
20% in
That
value.
looks like a bottom.
And what we
Oh,
talked,
no.
we were
Short
actually
term, yeah.
recently talking about how
And
it
that's
can-
because they didn't shut down their economy like the rest of the idiots around the world.
Can you just inverse
That's
the
why
scale
the
for
yuan,
me?
the yuan's rallying huge against the dollar. Have you guys
Say
looked at
again?
the
Could you
yuan?
inverse the scale?
wanna inverse it?
When we flip the chart upside down, like for me, my mind.
Well, I can just do MXN versus USD.
There we go. My mind has an easier time kind of seeing the bottoms than the tops, and this is one of those spots where I like zooming out. with
Look
an
at that right
inverted
there. Look at
scale.
that beautiful MRI top, beautiful MRI bottom. And then recently, it's just a consolidation, guys. I think this is going higher.
Can you draw a fib? I want to see if it broke the 0.618. I would say it's going higher. If not, I would be waiting for more. So yeah, we're
Oh,
all
it's
the way
right
up
there.
to
It
786.
broke the 6.1. It broke the 6.2. And now we got perfectly rejected right by the 7.6.
Yeah, so that would give me a target of 0.514 and a buy area of 0.483. Yeah,
I'm
that does
bullish
look
the
like
peso,
a-
guys. I mean, this is where I'm going to be spending. Like in February, I want to go to Brazil for Carnival, but if I can't go to Brazil, if they make me take a COVID test. Oh, by the way, the CDC just came out and said the PCR tests are bullshit.
Yeah, we knew it.
That was today.
My parents knew it.
Like I've been talking about it all along.
Yeah. Yeah. My parents are X-ray techs. Like they every day are getting tested and they get false positives all the
Yeah,
time.
they're all false
the
positives.
time.
They're all false.
Yeah.
Like 90% of all those PCR tests are false positives. Like people are just like,
Yeah.
like it's just this COVID shit is so obvious. Like it bothers me how dumb people are.
Yeah. Nurses in Jacksonville and doctors in Jacksonville, only
at this
about
snow in
20% of them are getting the.
Yeah, I
the
know. And I'm going to
vaccine.
Austin. It is freezing here. It was almost snowing
That's
here
where
in
they were-
Florida.
They were flying there today.
I'm going to
They were
Austin.
flying into there today.
I know. They just flew in. They got off the plane. I was like, did we fly into the right city? It is snowing in Austin. I'm going there. I'm going to Houston
What did they
tomorrow.
say about when it snows in hell?
Yeah, wait. I get so many like where's the CDC stuff? Hold on.
Bitcoin winter's coming, guys. All the Bitcoiners in Austin are toast. It's over. The bull market's over.
it's for the US dollar.
Yeah, I don't have the man, but check it out. Like literally, the CDC came out and said the PCR tests are bullshit,
No way.
which we all knew.
Well,
Well,
yeah,
like
we knew.
it was obvious.
But even when they say that, it's hard to fucking believe anything they say.
I know I trusted more.
It's like it's
What
like
is
they
this?
almost like
Is this at the Capitol?
we calmed down too much.
I don't remember this. I guess it was at the Capitol.
All right. Well, should we probably wrap up the show?
Yeah, I think we probably should. Yeah, I wanted to point that out, but yeah, and I tweeted out a video from a doctor just now. Guys, this COVID stuff is, I mean, I'm gonna be in Mexico. That's where I'm probably gonna be spending the rest of my time. I'm liking their president more and more now, who's going off on the social media stuff as well, like the deplatforming political opinions.
Yep, there's a lot of change happening, and I am very bearish on big cities and democratic states that are going to continue to shut down and see how far they can push and control. But I'm equally as bullish on the Republican states, and I'm more bullish on Republican states in America than anywhere else, because that is where I'm seeing some business happening and some people moving, real estate being sold quicker than anybody can list it. And this is because people are being challenged.
I'm trying to sell mine. Like real estate is so fucked. I don't know if I'll be able to sell my apartment.
In big cities that people are selling to get out, and places like Florida, Texas, Colorado,
Yeah.
people are moving there very quickly. And I think that it's a very good time to consider your values, and if they line up with how you're able to live your life and provide for your family. Because I still am very bullish America, but only in the places that are going to let us live our lives and stand by the morals that built this country to be what it is.
Hey, you wanted to look at Ethereum versus Bitcoin.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that is a very important chart. Let's throw it on the weekly since we're in doubt and looking at long-term moves here.
I can't believe it went up.
But still, it's at that spot. If it reclaims this area of support, we had that descending triangle, that area of support.
This chart is way too busy.
Yeah, if we zoom out to that descending triangle you had drawn.
I just gotta clean this up here.
So that big red area of support here,
So this
if
actually
that
just
turns
kept
back
going.
into support, that is a big deal.
It's just like a dumb looking chart.
It's so dumb. But like a trend line from here to here, we're still in an overall bear trend for me, but it's at that last point.
It's not a bullish trend for me.
This could still be a big range for me from here to here. It has not entered a trend. This could still be a range for me.
I don't know, man. I'm
Very
looking at
well. It is at that spot.
This is, like I said, this is how I see it, and that is not good if you're like a normal person.
Well, all I'm telling you is that I'm out of my short and I'm not long yet. So I'm not long yet. I'm still seeing this as it could be a head fake, a shakeout. Before the alts really dump, I expect something to happen to get everybody out of their Bitcoin and into alts. And it was such a common pattern. Anybody that's expecting the same pattern in 2017 to repeat itself, where you buy Bitcoin and then you enter alts and you make more money, it ain't gonna happen. There's gonna be something that really causes people to get separated from their Bitcoin if they get greedy. And I'm not yet convinced that alts are ready to rally. I could still very much see this being a range between 0.35 to 0.15. And big ranges precede even bigger moves down. So if this does get above, continue to stay above 0.3, I'm going to be longing. But this is still, it's giving up this trend line. It's just looking weak where it needs to look very strong. And this is where I pay very, very close attention, because this is where the 6-month trends tend to happen and where the big head fakes tend to occur that make trading so freaking hard. I thought I was in a great short, and now I'm out and I'm waiting to see what happens. So if it maintains strength, then so be it. But for now, it's in a very crucial spot for me, and I'm not ready to long it.
Fucking Christ. See, this is why I didn't want to look at the goddamn Ethereum chart.
And you know what's worse is I know some people are probably going to try to pile in to get ready for 2.0, because you're going to get ETH and you're going to get ETH 2.0 because they're going to hard fork, because the ETH community is that's going to.
But let's just look at the trend over the last 6 months. We're lower lows on the weekly, and we're failing to really. I mean, this is not really looking like a trend ready to follow through. This is much different than this. We're getting lower lows on a weekly chart, which to me, the trend I determine is higher highs and higher lows on a weekly chart is going to be one of the easiest ways to determine a trend. When I see lower highs and lower lows on a weekly.
Oh, it's Poloniex. It's bad. I can't look at volume here.
That's all right.
I was about to laugh, but I was like, Poloniex, no one trades there.
But just notice that if you just highlight that recent action, notice how we've had lower highs, lower lows, and now we peak above that recent spot. That was a very common stop loss right here. That peak above and that little reaction. I mean, this is, for me, this is, if anything, a bear trend with the lower highs and lower lows on the weekly. So this is a neutral spot for me, but yeah, I'm not too afraid yet. If it does continue that ascending triangle, then I would have that arrow drawn.
It's got well, this is why the arrow has a little bit of a gap. And like I said, I knew I didn't want to look at this shit. It's bullish. I mean, I don't know what to say. It's fucking bullish looking chart.
Too many, it's just too much. So too many good YouTubers pumping the shit out of it. Dude. Raul Pal, come on, let's all watch Real Vision together. Like, let's go. XRP's warming up. And remember, guys, make sure you get your XRP off Coinbase, because you only have a few more days or you are stuck. You are stuck.
And you should have done it a long time ago.
You should have been doing it a long time ago.
Yeah.
You should have been out of XRP a long time ago. But
You know, if every other shitcoin goes down and only Ethereum pumps, I'm okay with that.
right. I guess, yeah.
Okay with it.
But do you
Well,
really
well,
think
well,
that's going to
that's
happen?
true.
If Ethereum pumps, you think that
Well,
Link
yeah,
ain't
well,
pumping?
no, but that's the thing. No, Link ain't pumping because the SEC is going to get them the
Yeah,
way they
they're
got
next.
Ripple,
Yeah.
and Stellar is probably next.
I think
And
so.
then now that no one is dumb enough to buy UOS now that Larimer's left, and no one,
Tron's
What about Litecoin?
no one cares
You
about
care
Cardano.
about,
No one
can
cares.
that come?
No,
Litecoin's looking strong.
Litecoin is one having away from just a complete implosion.
Well, one having away is like $1,000 Litecoin.
Uh,
Say
They
it,
do
but
dominate script mining though. They dominate scripts. That's the
let's take a
problem.
quick look at the Litecoin chart while we're still going, because Litecoin is looking very strong, and it's been one that's been around for a while.
It is.
There are a few alts I'm comfortable holding,
As much as it's
Litecoin being one of them.
I
So
mean, I do have
this
a
like kind
chart.
of falling wedge action.
Well, it's a bad exchange. Well, hold on.
The
Let me do
longest
this.
history for Litecoin is on Bitfinex.
Oh wait, I shouldn't have done that actually. Let me go back to BT. Let me go back to ETH, BTC. Was I using Binance? Where did we just draw that? God damn it. ETH,
Oh, it was Poloniex where you had that
BTC, was it Poloniex?
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, it was. Because it's an old chart.
Yeah, we've got
No,
that
because I want to
chart.
save this and I want to open my Litecoin chart.
You hear how depressed tone sound after looking at that BTC chart? The Litecoin chart.
See, Litecoin chart makes me happy.
This is a big
It looks
area
like
of
shit.
support. It's starting to fade out.
Looks
so,
exactly what this code. No, it's so bearish as hell. Do you see the difference between the Litecoin, Bitcoin versus like?
Well, this is where I'm more, I guess this is more comfortable buying huge area of support. Lower lows failing. We probably have divs in the RSI. We do.
ADA is the worst, I think, of the charts.
You get more history on Bitfinex with Litecoin
Yeah.
for the record.
Really?
Yeah,
Than
it's,
Polo?
Yeah.
Yeah, longer than Poloniex.
No, this
That's
looks like
the
complete
rounding.
crap to me,
This is
man.
the rounding.
I'm not bullish this at all. Like to me, this is bearish. We're consolidating at the lows. I don't believe in this rounding. I think this is going lower.
But look, Tone, to be fair,
I'm
look
buying
at
that chart
2017.
myself.
Look how bad it looked before it popped in 2017. Just kind of move back.
That's the thing.
Like that, like
And
look
this
how
is the
bad that
range.
looked.
That's
Look
the
how bad that
range.
approach looked. And
No,
then
okay,
it's
but there was a
good.
reason for this pump.
Well,
Segwit.
Oh,
Bitcoin-
they got Segwit first. That's
Right.
Yeah.
Bitcoin wasn't getting Segwit, and Litecoin got Segwit.
And Charlie was, yeah. That's
So there was another. That was the February 2017.
right. And that's right. And so now Litecoin's going to be better than Bitcoin here.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I get it. That's funny.
So you're not seeing this chart as a range, a chart that's going nowhere between two horizontals.
I see the break of prior swing low accelerating down.
Yeah.
I don't see it. I don't see any reason why it would turn.
Let's see if we can, if you and I can get a bet going here. I feel like 0.0.
I don't think we're breaking this. I mean, I will take. We're not breaking this high.
I'll take that depending on where you let me set my stop.
That looks like 0.008.
So
break
if
this high.
what low do I get? It won't go below.
Well, I want the new low. So I'm saying we go to new all-time low.
Okay.
So whatever the low is there. I don't have a high-low close. Why not? Anyway, this red line. So this red line is 0.03.
I'll do that.
0.003 versus 0.008.
I'll do that if it's on a weekly closing basis.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
I'm saying it's not going to go. I mean, it's definitely closer to me than to you, but you're bullish.
That's correct. So yeah, I'm willing
But
to put
also, you have unlimited upside. I have, a zero bound here.
and I'm not going to charge you for how high it goes up. It'll just
Right.
be a win or lose. I've got $1,000 on Litecoin going above that level on a weekly closing basis on Binance.
How much time do we get?
Well, it's got to do it eventually.
6 months.
I mean, I think eventually it's going to close above or below one of those two lines.
I'll give it till end of the year.
and then it's just a wash. I mean, it's just a wash.
Well, you're right. Eventually, it's going to close above one or the other.
Eventually it has to. And I set alerts that don't expire on my trading views. So, I mean, I'll be ready in 10 years. I'm going to get an alert that tells me this thing just.
All right. No, the odds are in my favor. I have, I think I'll take this one. I think I'll take the all new low close, 0.003 versus 0.008, a weekly close.
I like it.
All right.
Weekly
That's
close
some
or
sweet
daily
action.
close?
Weekly
Weekly close.
See, I think if you look at the trend with more history, it already had like a higher low than it did before.
Well, that's what's working
Like,
on
where
now.
it's like-
Tone thinks
yeah,
it's
like
taking
a
it out.
You know, I actually
It's a
prefer
stupid
daily
close.
close than weekly close.
It's a
But
stupid
the
close
weekly's what I need.
grinding low
Right.
that
I need a
never goes
weekly.
below
All
the
right.
previous one.
Yeah, I think we're in this range. And it may make another lower high, but I think this is a strong area of support.
Because you know what this looks like actually? I mean, this looks kind of like a smaller condensed version of, actually, no, not condensed. It kind of looks like Bitcoin breaking 20K, right? Like this is the same triangle. It's this second rally was crazy, obviously, but it is kind of like that same, like it keeps hammering that trend, right? It almost looks like it's going to break through it because it keeps testing it. It's going to give out eventually.
Yeah.
Is what
This
it looks
is
like.
where I
right?
kind of, if I flip the chart upside down, I might think something totally
Really
different.
different,
So I
right?
don't
Yeah,
wanna-
no, you could,
now that
for
you
sure.
say that, it does look like kind of
Right.
an inverse cup and handle or something.
I
It is
wanna
kind
make
of an
this
inverted
green.
cup and handle. God
Yeah.
damn it. Yeah, it might be.
But you might be right though, just because of the bull market.
Can you invert that chart real quick? Yeah, that is interesting. That'll be interesting.
People were asking what
It
happened.
definitely looks like a range still.
Bitcoin trade chat embargo. When are you putting that off? Are you gonna-
Oh yeah, February 1st.
February 1st.
Fuck me.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. People were like, what happened to that?
I don't want this shit to talk.
All right, let's go back to the normal thing.
Yeah, let's maybe take one last peek at Bitcoin, see what's doing
Yeah.
the last little bit. And
Oh, nice. Look at the rally.
how about that hour?
Got a little rally going.
Now that we've zoomed out, I like to zoom in and see that those volume spikes are reacting in the right way to me. Wicking from support, closing above the ocean, specifically that close above 2 in a row. I'm liking this.
Yeah, but you're only liking it into the moving average. You're not liking it for the breakout of 41, are you?
Exactly, because if I get the move into the moving average, that gives me a break-even opportunity to where I trim 20 to 30%, and if it does break down, I can get out with a stop at the local low, and now I'm out around break-even. So that's what I look for, is opportunities to get in to where I can give myself a very good opportunity to trim, and then let a good portion of the position continue to ride. So yeah, this is a spot where again, like the tight time and price-based stop is where I'm looking to enter, and that's where for me, I'm giving this 24 hours to see how it looks. It feels a lot different 24 hours after the big moves happen. And when we've got these moving averages so spread out and the price below, this is when I can sleep comfortably for 8 hours or so, staying away from the charts. And then what happens in that time is going to be very, very important to me. So we'll see what happens the next day.
I still think there's going to be another red candle. It may not break the low. If it does, I'm buying the dip tomorrow, because I still see this as a 1 to 4 candle correction with a move towards 50.
You don't think you think a daily close below that trend line or not?
Maybe, but I don't think it, like I don't put that much stock in these short-term trend lines. Like I put a lot more stock in weekly trend lines.
For sure.
Like daily trend lines on a daily, I'd rather use horizontals.
Yeah.
I
agree. Horizontals are much more important than trend lines. But if we look at this candle here and that
Yeah.
following one, this is looking very similar to where the first 20% has moved down sharply. And even if it does close red, as long as we're getting the wicks around the trend lines, that's telling me it's strong, opposed to wearing out. So we'll have to see what happens. We have had some of those signs. We haven't had the price move below that 4-hour 50 EMA, that 1-hour RSI dipping very low. We're starting to get some signs. So this is where I need to see that strong reaction, and we'll have to wait and see.
All right, guys, that's pretty much it for us. Thank you for hanging out. Once again, this has been, nope, that's the Constitution. This has been Socrates joining me. Check out his website at socrates.com. This is his MSR indicator, and we were looking at it today. Of course, you can always check out my website, tonevays.com, with my own on-demand webinars as well. Those interested in the MRI, check it out. And those that just want to support, check out the affiliate page if you're looking to subscribe to any of these services. I don't like the mempool. It usually clears over the weekend, but it did not. So that is kind of unfortunate. So get ready for some high transactions. What's up, man?
So Bobby in Super Chat asked $20. He had one question.
All right.
How can followers add value to your life in 2021? What do you think the price of BTC and ETH will be tomorrow at 9 a.m. before the market opens?
Those are the two exact opposite
I
questions.
know, it's so weird. Dual questions.
I mean, you can add value to my life by not asking me these questions, because
exactly what
they're
I'm
gonna get me in trouble no matter what I say. I don't know. I have I think we'll be up in the morning. But I do think we're gonna go down tomorrow during the day, and I think there'll be a buying opportunity tomorrow during the day. I think we'll open around maybe 30. I don't know. I think the price right now is about where it should be in the morning.
Yeah.
I think we'll swing up overnight and then go down by morning.
Yeah, and that's where we're seeing it a little bit different, and it's a great time to pay close attention. As far as I'm concerned, a late evening dip that recovers before 7 a.m. Eastern time in America is something that I'm going to be paying close attention to, looking for sharp reactions as long as we are continuing this velocity. And to answer your first question, what you can do is to support Tone, to support what he's doing. You're like you're doing here, commenting in the chat, thumbs upping the videos, following, telling your friends.
Yeah, no, guys,
that
if you really want to support, come out to the events, come out to Unconfiscatable, come out to Understanding Bitcoin, come to the events. That's really the best way to support. If you are if you're a trader and you're in a good financial position, the Bali event is just incredible.
That is exactly where I was going. Is the best way to support him is to come out and do the most valuable things that he offers to the space, and that's bringing people together and offering some great opportunities to learn and also connect with like-minded people. So if you're really wanting to add value to Tone's life, you're probably going to end up adding value to your own life. So support what he's doing, and I appreciate everybody who is here supporting him today, listening to us talk after a good day of watching the charts and some football.
And also speak out in your local community against the lockdowns. It's the best support you can give me.
And
get the world's economy back in order. Yeah.
Like Tone said, he's not spending his money where he doesn't believe in the policies. And that's very, very important. At the end of the day, the dollar is going to drive the policies. And if you're going to be spending your money supporting things that you don't actually support morally, then that's going to just propel that further down the road. So absolutely think about where you're spending your money, what you're supporting, and again, click the thumbs up and continue supporting Tone and what he does each and every day.
Right. And someone asked if the MRI access is lifetime. It is lifetime, but there are potential incidents like me getting banned from TradingView, TradingView banning the script for one reason or another. So there are potential incidents that could, but like I don't intend to take away your access, but there are incidents outside of my control that may potentially take away your access. So that's the best guarantee I can give.
All right.
All right, and on that note, it's time to cut off screen share. We're still hanging out at the house, but that's it. Tomorrow I fly to Houston. I'll be spending 1 day there, and then it's off to the blizzard of Austin, Texas. Holy shit. I still have my jacket from, thank God I didn't throw that out. I was going to throw away my jacket after being in DC. And I'm like, oh, I ain't going back to cold weather this year. I'm staying in Florida and Texas. So last night it's 37 degrees Fahrenheit here in Florida, which in Celsius is like 3 degrees. And now I'm going to the blizzard of Austin, Texas. So this is perfect. This is my attempt to see. This is why I'm normally in Asia or like Latin America this time of year. But COVID, thank you. All right, guys. Thank you all for watching, and see you all